this isn't to tell you to hold things back, not by any means, but how are you constructing your offers so it's not like you're just throwing everything that you do into a smaller offer. Welcome to Did I Stutter with Jill Perrick. And yeah, I probably did because I have a stuttering disability. But I'm also a multiple six-figure business and mindset coach who's here to help you shut down the mindfuckery of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and playing the nice girl in your content so you and your brand can blow the fuck up and so you can stack the motherfucking cash. I'm holding absolutely nothing back. We're talking marketing, messaging, mindset, subconscious healing, nervous system regulation, and how to do it all even with raging anxiety, ADHD, and just being a fucking human. If fuck is one of your favorite words and nothing can get in between you, your iced coffee, or the work that you're here to do, I'm your girl. Let's dive in. This is exactly how I went from having a handful of clients in an overstuffed 3-week offer where I sold the offer for 3 weeks and still only got 5 people in to getting 20 people into a 5-day offer. So much shorter. The launch of this shorter offer was so much shorter too. And banking 5 figures from that simple 5-day offer. I did this recently, and I first want to say that I really do think that this is a learning curve, and like not every smaller ticket offer or smaller kind of experience is going to lead to people immediately upgrading into your highest ticket spaces, but that is the goal, right? And I think what people kind of lead with is they lead with the fact that I need to give them like a taste of working with me. And even though that is a thing, I also think that it's not that they're going to get access to you for a lower amount and you're going to be doing exactly what you would be doing in the highest ticket space. So this is going to be a super strategic episode for you because I really want to dive into what was the difference between when I ran a 3-week offer versus a 5-day offer. And even though it yielded kind of similar results, because in the first offer, I re-signed a client. So I already had a client inside of the Real Deal, but there was a killer incentive for that first offer. And I re-signed a client who was going to come up on their contract. I offered it to her and she took it, right? So that still yielded a 5-figure sale, but no sales from new people versus doing this 5-day offer. And we're going to get into all the logistics and everything around it and being able to bank 5 figures from a new client from that 5-day event, from that 5-day program. So again, this is how I went from like just a couple of clients in an overstuffed 3-week offer to 20 people in 5 fucking days. I made like 1.6K from an $88 offer and signed a new client, which was a 5-figure sale into the Real Deal Mastermind. So let's dive into this little case study. Okay. So in August, I ran a 21-day mini offer. And why should you care? So the reason why you should care is because this is ultimately the goal. I help my clients sell high ticket offers. And even though that is the end goal, there is going to be an opportunity for you to create lower ticket things or other kind of experiences that are fun, that are exciting. This is the whole premise behind Signature Savage, which is my free offer that you can download, where I talk about having like a high ticket signature offer, but you still have the flexibility and the freedom to create these lower ticket things that are exciting and that nurture your creativity, but they are leading to the bottom line. And that is you want people into your high ticket fucking spaces, obviously. So you can deliver the best experience possible so you can create that recurring income. And that is my goal for the clients that I work with. So I have these ideas for these lower ticket offers and for these things that I can do. Not only are they so beneficial for the clients that I'm currently working with, whenever I have an idea for a smaller offer, it is always in response to like, okay, I know that my clients are experiencing this problem or they're doing this. What can I do that is going to be helpful for them? And then I offer it to the public. I create an offer around it that's anything between $33 to $111 to $220 $122 to $300, that allows the public to come in, and if somebody is a good fit, ultimately upgrade to my one-to-one coaching or the Real Deal Mastermind. But the thing is people do this without any strategy behind it or like intention behind it. And then they end up creating these offers that calls in people who really just wanted a piece of you. And I don't mean that in a terrible way. I mean, I have definitely been a person who has like joined lower ticket things because I just knew that I would get access to that coach and get access to their coaching, right? But it didn't incentivize me to actually join any of their higher ticket or lower ticket offers. And it's because of the reasons that I'm going to tell you about today. And when I changed this, that led to me delivering Story Slut, which was like so much fun. I had the best fucking time ever. And it really did change how I saw these lower ticket offers. Okay. So this is all within the last couple of months. It's super fresh. And like, I'm just learning a lot about developing these offers in a way that like really positions your highest ticket thing as something that people need to be in, right? Because obviously I would have loved to sign like multiple people from that lower ticket offer into my Real Deal Mastermind. But like, I also know that there is a very high chance where the majority of those people are going to come into a space that I have at some point, and that's okay, right? I am not somebody who's going to say, if it doesn't work 100%, scrap it, because I also know that I am playing the long game, that there are people that are going to sit and they're going to wait and they're going to spend all this time wasting away and not actually taking action until they finally go, fuck, okay, I'm in, and then their minds are going to be blown, right? But people need to be on their own journey, and I fucking know that too. So let's dive into what actually happened and how you can learn from me doing these smaller ticket experiences, and then how you can position your smaller ticket experiences so it can lead to signing those high ticket clients from them, or those high ticket clients eventually coming into your space because of that offer. Even if it's not right away, they're going to, because of the way that you delivered that smaller ticket offer. Okay. So in August, I ran a 21-day mini mind. It was called Ruthless and Rich. And it was honestly so fucking good. Like, I was obsessed with it. But I made like 3 key mistakes during it. And those 3 mistakes are exactly why, even though I had re-signs into my mastermind, right? These were clients that I already had, right? But I didn't make any new sales specifically from that offer. And here's why, okay? First of all, the messaging was vague as fuck and the promise wasn't clear. And if you are hearing this and you're like, Jill, you are the queen of saying like things need to be specific, blah, 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 blah. We are not all immune to that information. We all think like, okay, we need to be as specific as fuck. And sometimes our creativity can take the wheel. Sometimes we have an idea and we want to action on the idea, but then we realize this was not really fleshed out and we have to figure out how are we going to go about this. And that's what happened with Ruthless and Rich. I had this ruthless like fucking energy. I had this fire behind my post. I was feeling so good. And I was like, I want to fucking coach people in a different way. Like, I want to call people in who are ready to go as fucking feral and spicy as I'm feeling. And I decided on a whim to create that offer. But from that, I didn't really know what's the goal of this offer. If it's a smaller offer, what's the goal of it? Like, what are they going to actually get out of it? What are they going to achieve? It was just very vague. And even though it was about that ruthless, feral kind of energy, I didn't know how to ground it and have it be like a tangible result. And the result wasn't clear. Okay, so that was the first mistake, especially with something that's lower ticket. Have it be as specific as possible and solves a fucking micro issue that solves an issue. Eventually, Ruthless and Rich became an offer that now when you come into the Real Deal Mastermind, you're going to do the Ruthless Challenge. And that is, you're going to do, it's essentially a challenge to challenge your capacity and challenge your capacity to create a lot of content. And that's what Ruthless and Rich became. But I didn't really realize that until the weekend before we actually started. And then I was like, fuck, this is what this is actually about. It's about challenge their capacity. It's about challenging perfectionism. It's about going as hard as they possibly can and quantity creating quality. So I had them create a carousel post and a reel every single day for those 3 weeks. And it really challenged their capacity to like just fucking do shit and post it, do shit and post it. And again, I had this idea the weekend before. So the 3 weeks that I was talking about it before that, I was like not as clear as I could have been. Okay, the next thing I did, the next mistake that I made was the length of the program was way too long for what they actually needed to get the results from this offer. When the length is too long, people fall off. They start kind of like coming up with their ego and their excuses and being like, well, I've been doing this for X amount of time. I can take some time off, blah, 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 blah. So I lost the majority of the like energy and the participation kind of near the end. Again, everybody who was in there and was doing it the whole time, it was an incredible journey. It was an incredible journey. It was an incredible offer. I'm so obsessed with it that's why I added it to the real deal and being like, when you come in, you're going to do the Ruthless Challenge. And it's so incredible. But at the time I was like, whoa, it should have been like 2 weeks. I feel like 2 weeks with the capacity for creating all of that content, with me reviewing their content too. So I just did a lot of things that required a lot of my energy, and it was more vague because I was not specific. I was just like, I'm going to coach you in this offer and I'm going to like review your content. So that's on me. And the incentives, the third mistake that I made, the incentives were boring as fuck and they didn't have any punch. And they didn't have anything to really do with like the Ruthless and Rich theme. And I was like, not that excited about it. I also was so exhausted from running this offer, coaching my clients, doing my content, doing all of the things that it kind of like lost its spark near the end. So it was too long, and then the incentives were super boring, and the messaging behind the offer was vague and it was not specific. Ruthless and Rich was like a fucking buffet. Like, it presented like, here's all the things you could possibly learn from me, and also here's coaching on everything under the sun. I also had like a group coaching channel where they could just come in and ask me anything, and that kind of defeated the purpose of keeping it specific to that offer. I signed 5 clients into that mini mind, the Ruthless and Rich mini mind, but none of them upgraded into the mastermind. But then in September, I decided to run Story Slut. So in September, I decided to run Story Slut. You heard me talk about it. You heard me sell it. So this was an intentional chef's tasting menu where you got exactly what you asked for. Like, it was so hyper specific, and it was obvious in the way that I got 20 people in. It was popping up. I was making sales every day, and it was so specific in terms of like, I knew exactly what I was talking about each day and didn't feel like, oh my God, like, well, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Because I knew at the end of the day, it was coming back to stories and selling on stories. Okay. So strategically, this changed everything. So I was very specific with the messaging. The goal was for them to sell unapologetically and powerfully on stories, and how they were going to do that. Okay. It was only 5 days. So there was urgency, there was potency. The incentives to upsell into the real deal were exclusive. They were sexy. They matched the theme. They got done for you copy, which I don't offer anywhere fucking else. Like, it was so amazing. And the energy shifted from take anything you can get to here's exactly what I can teach you about this. Like, it was very specific and refined to this exact thing. Energetically, it felt lighter. I wasn't attached. I even dropped these like prizes during the week because I was just having so much fun. So I did a live call. I did a Q&A on Friday. What else did I do? Like, I reviewed their stories. So I also dropped that as a surprise, saying like, you can send your stories in here or tell me when all your stories are up, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to review your stories. And I was intentional with all of that. And like, these are all things that my clients inside of my like highest ticket offer get. But if I was just like, okay, I'm going to review all your stories, all your posts, your page, your I help statement, all that shit. Like, no, I was just reviewing stories and how they were selling on stories. So this obviously led to new sales. This led to 5 figures in sales. This client joined Story Slut before it was even over because she was getting such a great experience, not only from Story Slut, but also through the free content that I post. So Ruthless and Rich was flooded with like 10 different concepts, and I was over delivering from a place of proving myself, where Story Slut was hyper specific and I over delivered from a place of like excitement and like just feeling very energetically lit up, which is amazing for me as a fucking generator in human design. And I was still staying on theme with every surprise or everything that I over delivered from. It was 2 completely different energies between Ruthless and Rich and Story Slut. And that is how you build a mini experience that doesn't just get fucking signups to it. It creates a direct bridge into your high ticket offers, because you're deepening in terms of like, you're deepening your scope of something so specific that they're like, okay, if I learned all of this from this very specific topic, like I can't imagine what it would be like to be in her space and for her to help me with this, for her to help me with this. I got a taste of how she reviews content, or I got a taste of how she coaches, but not in the way where like I'm overdoing it and telling them everything they need to know and they feel complete at the end of it. And I don't mean that in like a gatekeepy kind of way, because I don't do that. But I also do know that when things are too vague, too open-ended, too like, let me help you with everything, you do kind of feel complete at the end of it. You don't think I could continue with this person and I could do all of these different things with them and I can see what's possible. You kind of think like, oh, okay, I have everything I need now. And that is just like supply and demand, right, of running a business. So this isn't to tell you to hold things back, not by any means, but how are you constructing your offers so it's not like you're just throwing everything that you do into a smaller offer. Because really the reason why people do that is because they're insecure about their high ticket offer, because they think it's too high and people can't afford it. So they're actually kind of reaching for the low hanging fruit and being like, hey, here's a lower ticket way to work with me with all the access, with all the vagueness and the ambiguity. And you're gonna feel like you got everything taken care of at the end, instead of being like, I got a taste and I know that there is more behind the curtain and I want access to it. I want access to this person, because if they help me with this very specific thing, I know that there is so much more that we can do together. And this is one of the many strategic pieces to a 6-figure brand, right? And what you'll learn inside of The Real Deal is when you learn how to design free offers, mini programs, and launch experiences that give people a hyper specific win, activate real buyer energy, and makes them feel like being in your world is a no fucking brainer, a 5-day offer can turn into 5 figures in sales, because you're not targeting people that can't afford your high ticket. You are being hyper specific to your ideal client, helping them with a hyper specific thing. And then subconsciously and consciously, they are thinking to themselves, holy shit, like I need to be in this space. Like I need to learn more. I need to be doing more. This has really like kicked off like an energy in me, a fire in me to do more. And again, as I said, I know that there are multiple people who were in Story Slut that are definitely going to come back and work with me in the Real Deal Mastermind, or they're going to become one-to-one clients. And that could happen tomorrow. It could happen next week. It could happen in 3 months. It could happen at the end of the, like, who knows what is going to happen. But I am not attached to that. But what I am attached to is creating really really great smaller experiences that not only lead people to decide I need to work with Jill, but also give my clients an opportunity to learn even more. The reason why I created StorySlut is because I noticed that a couple of my clients were having issues with stories in terms of like, they were like, how do I sell like really confidently on there? Or sometimes I just don't know like what to post or what to say or any of that kind of stuff. Or they were feeling kind of like insecure about selling on stories or being annoying. And a part of the StorySlut challenge was posting 10 to 15 slides a day and getting so comfortable with taking up space. And it was just an incredible offer. You actually can still get that offer, and you can get the Telegram channel with all the trainings, the live call, and all of the stuff inside of there for just $88. That is at the link in my show notes. But it was so great, and it really taught me a lot about like creating and designing offers that are so hyper specific, because your clients that are lurking and that are thinking about working with you, it's not necessarily that they're saying, I'm not going to work with her unless it's cheap, right? They are not your ideal client if that's how they're thinking. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad person or they're taking advantage of you. It just means that like we are speaking to and targeting your highest ticket clients, the clients who you're going to spend a lot of time on, who are going to be the like crux of your work, right? That's who we're speaking to. We are not trying to just grab people who are gonna grab low ticket offers. We're not just trying to get like a cash injection because we need to fucking pay the rent or anything like that. This is about like having a foundation of that highest ticket offer and everything feeding into it, right? And again, there are gonna be people that who are going to buy your lower ticket offers, and then they're going to be like, okay, see you later until the next one. And that's fine too. But what we are creating things for is for your clients and for the highest ticket client who is going to be of service to you just as much you are going to be of service to them. So I hope you loved this little case study breakdown of Ruthlessly Rich versus StorySlut. And also, I have no qualms about doing Ruthlessly Rich. Like, I had a great experience. I love everybody I signed into that offer. It was incredible. And I learned a lot about this specificity and about being really diligent about how to create an offer that is going to lead to my highest ticket spaces. So I'm not just like creating offers on a whim and being like this, like spending all this time in this offer isn't ultimately worth it, because even though it is a learning experience, like we always want to be improving as well at the same time, of course. Okay. I hope you love this. This is getting way too friggin' long. So I hope you absolutely love this. Again, if you are thinking I need this kind of strategy in my life, come into my world. Send me a DM when you are ready to chat about joining the Real Deal Mastermind or one-to-one coaching, because you get the mindset, the identity, and the strategy like this, so you can scale to 10K to 20K months and create a life and a business that you're fucking obsessed with, okay? Send me a DM at your coach Jill. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.